I went to a lot of events and I saw a lot of beautiful slides of a lot of companies, and I took away a few handholds for you to guide you a bit in the world of technology. And it's always a question: is technology a solution or is it an enabler? So, shared services, for the people who don't know, and but also for the people who engaged it was actually created to centralize, to standardize, and to reduce cost. And most of the shared services, they went to shared services with a system which is called lift shift. So imagine you have 10 houses, 10 kitchens. You bring all the kitchens in one house, and that's a bit shared services. So actually, from that moment, you try to get better kitchens out of the 10. That's a bit of the story. And funny enough, hardly companies who didn't use the lift shift. So lift shift means is you still have the old kitchens. Yeah, and nothing changes. It's still gas, it's still a bit of electric, so very mixed processes. It was actually in the start of the time when we started to digitalize. So a lot of clients had still some paper, but most of them went already to all kinds of the pictures, the PDFs, the XML files, etc. And although they talked about it, most of them didn't really have an end-to-end process. I think Chris mentioned it as well. The last 10 years, it was only buzzwords. So I think blockchain is not even on this slide, but it was every year on every Deloitte, there was a new big sign saying, okay, machine learning, now we go to the next phase. And funny enough, a few weeks ago, I spoke on an event, and I told actually when we were taken over in 2016, 17, I sat together and I had like, it's crazy. This company, Transparent, is focusing on invoices, and I believe that in a year or 5, we probably will not have invoices anymore. And look where we are today. It's a bit longer than 5 years, and nothing changed. I think only in daily life we have tickies or things like that. But in business, it's still invoices, and a lot of invoices. So actually, the question is, which of these technologies was really disruptive or will be disruptive? So I guide you a bit to the P2P landscape of these three. So RPA, robotics, process mining, and AI. I think the ones who was talked about the most in the last years. We created a bit of an artificial story. So these are artificial people, and the story I'm going to tell is definitely artificial. Some of the numbers are real, but I'm going to share with you which ones. And I don't know if it's intelligent or these people are intelligent, but let's assume. So we have Tom, the CFO. He's only result-oriented. So return on investment. Matt, the shared service center director. We have some of them here. So a really people manager, goes to a lot of events to acquire a lot of knowledge. We have Diana, a seasoned AP manager, already for a long time in this. Also a people manager, but really into detail. And Rachel, she's head of IT, so she knows everything about technology. So first one is RPA. We all know robotics. Robotics was really brought in as the silver bullet. So if you want to reduce cost in your shared service center, you get out the FTEs. The only thing is you need to put in robots and they take over the work and it's all done. So Tom heard that as well, and he had like, okay, I do a small investment, and then on the long run, I lose a lot of FTEs. So that's great. So he says, Matt, let's implement a lot of RPA, and because it's going to reduce cost, it's going to replace people, and we really going to gain. And but Matt saw already some slides on some events and thought, I don't know if they're really doing the work. It's more a bit of a task thing. So Tom is still convinced. It's we need to do it. I heard you really push a button and then the robot is doing the work. So If we look nowadays actually at the use of RPA in P2P, then we see a lot of things which are very interesting, where a lot of those work in reality, but also a lot of them are partly working or failing constantly based on the fact that a lot of processes have polluted data or missing data. And not every geography is the same. And we need to take into account most shared service centers, they still have the legacy. So they have still 10 kitchens. So you need to implement 10 different robots to get the same small part of the process optimized. So there, the question is also, is it worthwhile to use the technology? So a few pros and cons. So a lot of robots are much faster. At the end, it can save cost. But it's also one of the things, what I see a lot, you lose a bit the control of the process, because whenever you automate, you create, say, automation pills or black boxes. And if you replace really the people who did that part of the process, then you lose also the people who knew what happened and who can also act once the process is failing. So if technology fails, and we all know it, South Africa, they know the load shedding, but even here, you see technology is failing. You need to have the people who can do something and understand what has to be done. So this is also a nice, I think it's already 100 years old, but one of the first one-liners of Bill Gates, and that is actually the good thing on technology. It shows you when a process is very good, but it shows you also when a process is really broken. And in a lot of cases with implementation of technology, we see that we spend a lot of time on the process before automation and then still see that it fails. So in that case also, technology can be a tool to show you where the process is wrong and where you need to improve. We also dream a bit about where can we go if in a lot of technologies they are still at the start of where they could be. And also with combining some technologies, we could actually evolve. We see that in our process, but we see that also with clients where they have a bit more results. But actually, if we would dream, when we combine, for instance, AI and self-learning with robotics, then we could actually elevate to self-learning automation. We're still not there, not near. Dynamic payment optimization. I think there are a lot of tools in the market which help you a bit, give a bit of an insight. But if the robot and the AI could do that together, who knows? Maybe in the future. Then I think it's from the last 5 years, process mining, the new way of data analysis. And actually, process mining gives you a real good insight in your process. So it is actually a bit of a monitoring tool. Matt went to a shared service congress, saw some beautiful slides. A big company, bigger than his, implemented this without any hiccups, replaced a lot of people, gave a lot of insight, and the KPIs went like rocket. And so Matt goes to Diana and said, Diana, let's implement process mining. But actually, Diana knows what is the real situation, because every day she is handling all the exceptions, having internal clients calling and moaning about not paying on time, having vendors calling in, not getting paid. So she knows how her process is, and she has like, what is the benefit for me to implement a tool when my process looks like this? So in that case as well is, why should you implement? But then again, we see nowadays, if we look at the use of process mining, when you implement it well and when you do a lot of work, you finally can have a few benefits on this process mining tool to improve. But also is actually to use it in operations. A lot of reportings. But there as well, if we go to the pros and cons, yes, it enhances insights, and we saw some really beautiful occasions or examples. Performance analysis, you really can measure it with this tool. Problem is, it's only limited to the data you have in your systems. So it only shows you what you're booking yourself. Next to that as well is the setup of process mining is very resource intensive. And if you don't do it well, then you probably will not get the right results. And you need also people really understanding the process. So if you started to implement a lot of RPA and you lost those people who really know the process, then I wish you good luck with implementing process mining. And we all know how it is with processes and people. We all find our elephant path. And that is also when we look at P2P, and I think Rob already mentioned the PO rate. Of course, a lot of our clients say we implemented POs to make an easier match. We even have some clients who implemented no PO, no pay, which is also wonderful for us and not that much for the client. But actually is, if we see on average from all our clients, more than 60% of the POs are created after invoice date. So we match and we have a great match. So it's not even your numbers, which are lower. They don't have 100% POs because some of our clients have 100% PO, but then more than 60% are created afterwards. So based on the invoice. So in that case as well is the question, is this really a sound process or is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? So if we dream again a bit, where could we go with process mining? Predictive insights. So if the data is really good, where you run this on, and the process is also good, then with a bit of AI, you could make it a bit predictive. We're long not there, but it could. End-to-end process mining. If you could also have access to more data sources than in P2P, what they call end-to-end, is only the AP or the Coupa version, the side of procurement. If we really can do it over the whole process, then it could really help and empower us to get to the next stage. So, and then we go to the last part, and that's really nowadays a FOMO. You said it as well. Where can we implement AI? And did we implement AI? Because everybody is afraid that we lose this momentum. So Tom as well, he says, come on, let's implement AI, because it's really now the time that we can replace people. It's already saying it in the word, it's artificial intelligence, so we can leave out the real intelligence. And so, and that's also a funny communication thing, is Tom goes to Rachel and asks, is it possible? And of course, IT people always answer, yes, it's great. It's all possible. You have endless possibilities. What they should ask is actually, would you do it yourself? And they probably will answer, no, too much hustle. Good. How is AI used nowadays in purchase to pay? Yeah, one of the things we hear more and more, statement reconciliation. It's something we do on a daily basis, and of course we try to automate as well. We don't want to lose the people, but we want to do it smarter. Very difficult, very manual still, and also there I heard it both guys said is you can't do it without interference of still humans, because it's us controlling and checking everything. And it's the tool maybe doing a bit more than it did in the past, but it's still not happy. We see a bit more use of AI outside of the processes, so more into procurement, because also understand that AI needs to have access to loads of data. And the process, the transactional processes within our companies, how big we are, but it's often not enough to really have use of AI. So a few pros and cons. Yeah, AI can do far more than RPA can do, because RPA is just the block, the one-sided. Process mining is also only on the process. AI can do a lot more. It has self-learning capacity, so that's good. The only thing is, if we implement or use AI, we don't know what we miss. So also there is, we create automation pills. We don't see actually what happened there and what was actually why there was the outcome. And as well, we are limited because of the data silos. So if we have access to multiple silos, then we could have more results. So this is actually from Deloitte, from their report. One of the issues as well is with a lot of technology and especially also AI is the data privacy or the data security. A lot of companies, they find out when implementing AI that they are limited to their own data because they are not allowed to get more sources of data in. So in that case also there is a sort of a limitation by laws and regulations. Next to that is as well is the quality of the data. To really have an impact of AI and on technology, you need to have clean and enhanced data. This is also an average on all our clients. This is on vendor master data. There you see on average 46% of the clients have email addresses. If you understand a bit technology, it's very difficult in ERPs to define the identity of a supplier because we have a lot of duplicate records and we have a few identifiers in vendor master data, which is bank account number, VAT number, but also email address, IP. Because if we want to automate statements, then we know who do we reach out and what kind of answer do we are we expecting back. And one of the limitations there is, of course, if you don't have enhanced data and you don't know who to reach out, then you're lost in space. Another thing is, of course, the vendors with missing VAT, which is, everybody knows who is a bit in P2P. In a lot of cases, probably not mandatory, but it's missing in a lot of cases there. Yeah, and this is also from the Deloitte report came out, the decrease in interest in AI, and that's also probably because a lot of people tried, didn't know what and how, and then failed, and then they decided not to continue. We still think it has a good future. I don't know if it's that disruptive, but it's funny to see is that with a lot of technologies, it starts big. It's been presented as a bullet, and then finally interest get lost because the results are a bit lower. Yeah, maybe our IT director can tell a bit more, but we are trying ourselves as well implement AI in statements. So maybe you can.
Here is a microphone for you.
Thank you, Oscar. So, of course, AI, the big hype. Everybody's been talking about it for the past 1.5, almost 2 years. And of course, there are also a lot of concerns: privacy, security, scalability, reliability. Within Transparent, we are trying to find the right way of implementing it in our processes. Currently, we are looking at the statements reconciliation part of our business. We process around 100,000 statements annually. Currently, that is semi-automated. So if we are able to do this with the help of AI, even if it would only be, for example, a 4 eyes principle, to catch everything that is missed by a human, it would already represent quite some value for Transparent. Next to that, we also process a lot of lines of data, hundreds of millions of lines of invoice data coming from the ERP systems of our clients. And as a separate track, we're also looking at ways of using AI to analyze the data, looking for anomalies, and creating value for you, our customers. So if you want to know more, you will know where to find me after the drinks. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. So actually, Michael explained, promising but still not perfect. Trying every day to improve it and to see where there are still gains. But yeah, also here is let's dream a bit about it. The good thing on the AI is that you can use it in more occasions, and it's actually a language model. So on the procurement side, it's more usable than maybe on the processing side. But if we would really have an end-to-end and access to end-to-end data, then we could use it also to integrate it in integration of this model a bit more. So giving back information to the procurement on the processing part and vice versa. Optimize workforce allocation. We are still spending a lot in processing stuff, although it's automated, but also there it should be helpful to focus a bit more on the exceptions to make sure is that the rest is flowing through. Because if you create sort of a knot in the process, and then the rest will actually just bump into that knot and it will not continue. Yeah, and of course, I think on P2P, it's still the exceptions are the biggest nightmare of everyone. And I think also in the future, AI can help a lot there. So are we there yet? I just got 2 minutes, was it? Yeah, and then we have drinks. Are we there yet? No, I think there is still more to come. But if I look and if I look at the example I already gave, 8 years ago now, I thought invoices were gone and we would all just pay everything with phones or whatsoever. We're still not there. So still a lot to go. Navigating to technology. So before I will discuss the few points on how, I would always say is first start in why. And it's more or less what we see, a big FOMO, and we need to implement it because then we can say we have it. In a lot of cases as well on the RPA, I saw instances where you wouldn't want to have a robot there, you want to replace that part of the process rather to implement a robot. But if we go to the how, is first rule, bad data kills everything. So every implementation, every migration starts with actually a lot of homework on the quality and the governance of your data. Don't automate, elevate. Look actually at added value of what you automate. Because in some cases it really brings you something. In a lot of cases it's just investment in new tools. Because finally, it's actually the humans who bring the big innovation. Break the silos. We talk about end-to-end. I never, ever saw really end-to-end. In finance, it's impossible also partly because of the compliance rules. But also, there is a possibility to do a bit more umbrella outside of the transaction and the payment itself, to have more effect on of technology. And then also the last one, don't, and Chris said it as well, don't trust too much on technology. In a lot of cases, what we see is we implemented this tool, so now we're safe. And then our question is never do it, because there is always improvement. And like we saw with the elephant pad, there are still people involved. So they will find a way actually to loophole the system. So in that case is don't trust the system that much and keep checking and auditing your process. And that was actually it. I thank you very much.